The United States Navy is blockading Iran right now. Ships are being seized, drones are being fired at American sailors. Oil just crossed $106 a barrel. And while all of that is happening, while your gas bill gets higher every single week, the people in charge of American foreign policy can't even get both sides into the same room. So here's the question nobody on television seems to want to ask. Who exactly is winning here? Drop your answer in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you think. Here's what actually happened, and pay attention because the way this story is being told in most newsrooms leaves out the most important parts. On February 28th of this year, the United States and Israel launched surprise airstrikes on Iran. They killed Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. They hit military sites, government buildings, and key leadership targets. The White House called it a success. And within days, Iran responded by shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow 21-mile waterway that carries 25% of the world's seaborne oil and 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas. Every single day, gone. Peace talks in Islamabad failed, and on April 13th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the U.S. military launched a full naval blockade of Iran. Every vessel entering or departing Iranian ports subject to interception, seizure, or capture under the command of Admiral Brad Cooper at U.S. Central Command. On April 19th, the USS Spruance fired on an Iranian cargo ship called the Tuska, a vessel nearly 900 feet long, disabled its engine room, and seized it in the Gulf of Oman. Iran launched drone strikes at U.S. ships in retaliation. By April 22nd, Iran's Revolutionary Guard had seized 2 more foreign cargo ships and fired on one, causing serious damage to its bridge. As of today, April 26th, no deal exists. Talks have collapsed again. Iran's top diplomat left Pakistan. Trump said he told U.S. envoys not to go. And Brent crude is sitting above $106 a barrel. Here's the open question nobody in Washington wants to answer honestly. How long can this administration sustain a naval blockade before the American economy starts breaking under the pressure? We'll come back to that. And the answer should make you very uncomfortable. Now, here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you, and this is the part that matters. Gas prices hit $4 a gallon on March 31st. That's a 30% surge since this war began. The Consumer Price Index is at 3.3%, the highest since May 2024. And economists are now warning that a key inflation gauge the Federal Reserve uses could hit 4% by the end of this year. 4%. That's double the Fed's own target. Think about what that means for a family making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. That means your mortgage payment is harder to make. Your grocery bill keeps climbing. And the raises people got over the last 2 years get quietly erased by prices that won't come down. Why is this happening? Because 25% of the world's oil moves through a waterway we don't control. And we're now in a standoff with the country that does. Here's the second thing they're not telling you. This blockade is disrupting far more than oil. The Middle East supplies 25% of the world's polypropylene, 20% of its polyethylene, the plastics that go into almost everything you buy, a quarter of the world's sulfur, 15% of global fertilizer. That's food prices. That's packaging. That's agriculture. Every day this goes on, the damage compounds. And here's the third thing, the one that the foreign policy establishment really doesn't want you thinking about. Iran may not be losing this standoff. Not yet. The administration wants you to believe the blockade is working. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stood at a podium and said, and I'm quoting, "The blockade is ironclad." He said, "To the regime in Tehran, the blockade is tightening by the hour. We are in control. Nothing in, nothing out." That sounds strong. But here's what analysts are actually saying behind closed doors. Kenneth Katzman, one of the most respected Iran analysts in Washington, says Tehran may have enough stored oil revenue to sustain itself until August. August. Does the Trump administration have until August? Probably not, because Trump has midterms coming, because American consumers are already furious about prices, and because the longer this drags on, the more pressure builds, not just on Tehran, but on Washington. Now stop. Because here is the fact that completely reframes this entire story, and I promise you, you have not heard this anywhere else. On April 23rd, while President Trump was publicly claiming the United States fully controls the Strait of Hormuz, The Guardian described the real situation as a dual blockade. The U.S. Navy is blockading Iranian ports. Iran is blockading the strait itself. Both sides are simultaneously choking the world's energy supply. We haven't won. They haven't won. The global economy is losing, and you are paying for it at the pump every single day. Ask yourself a simple question. If we fully controlled the strait, why is oil at $106? So what happens next? Let's be honest about the scenarios, because Washington certainly isn't being honest with you. Scenario 1. A deal gets done in the next few weeks. Iran's foreign ministry has said enrichment levels can be negotiated. Pakistan is still trying to arrange talks. If both sides find a way to save face, Iran gets some blockade relief, the U.S. gets nuclear concessions on paper, oil prices drop, Trump claims victory before the midterms, and everyone moves on. The signal to watch for: both delegations physically in the same room in Islamabad. That hasn't happened yet. Watch for it. Scenario 2. This drags into summer. Iran has calculated, and they've said this publicly, that Trump will blink first. Iran's own parliamentary speaker said the blockade would soon make Americans nostalgic for $4 to $5 gas. That's not a threat aimed at Washington. That's a threat aimed directly at you, the American voter. If oil stays above $100 through July and August, inflation goes higher, consumer spending contracts, and the political damage to this administration becomes severe. Scenario 3. This escalates militarily. Iran has placed mines in the strait. It has fast attack boats. It's already launched drones at U.S. ships. It's threatened to close not just the Strait of Hormuz, but the Bab al-Mandeb, the entrance to the Red Sea. One miscalculation, one ship sunk, one American sailor killed, and everything changes. And nobody, not the administration, not the Pentagon, not the media, is talking honestly about how close to that edge we actually are. Now, that question we planted at the top: how long can this administration sustain a naval blockade before the American economy breaks under the pressure? Here's your answer. According to one analyst from the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, Iran's oil wells risk permanent damage from storage overflow, and that deadline was today, April 26th, not next week, today. Either Iran is about to face a catastrophic internal economic crisis, or this blockade is about to force a decision that nobody in the region is ready for. Either way, something is about to break. Here's the verdict. The United States is running a naval blockade against a country that has mined an international waterway, seized foreign ships, fired on sailors from allied nations, and launched drones at American vessels, all while a ceasefire is technically still in place. And Washington's response has been to send envoys to Pakistan who didn't show up, to extend a ceasefire with no conditions, to claim total control of a strait where oil just hit $106 a barrel. The American people are paying more for gas, more for groceries, more for everything, because powerful people made decisions that put a 21-mile waterway at the center of a confrontation nobody has a clear plan to end. You deserve to know that. You deserve better than the spin you're getting from people who will never feel the price of this at a gas station. So here's your question for the comments. Is this administration's Iran strategy working? Yes or no? Don't give me nuance. Give me your honest answer. Subscribe if you believe Americans deserve the story behind the story. And next, what staying above $100 oil through summer actually does to your retirement account. That video goes up next. Don't miss it.